Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Beavercreek City Council. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Curran?
Here.
Councilmember Literal? Here. Councilmember Rushing?
Here.
Councilmember Upton?
Here.
Councilmember Van? Here. Vice Mayor Garcia? Mayor Stone?
Here.
Motion to excuse Vice Mayor Garcia.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to excuse Vice Mayor Garcia. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This time, I'd like to turn the meeting over to Councilmember Literal for the pledge.
If you could all please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could just take a moment as we think about this coming week, that it's a holiday and Thanksgiving is upon us, I would just like to remind everyone how grateful we are as a nation, how grateful we are as a community that we have each other, and that please think about that as you're traveling to your places, and think about your neighbors and those in the community that may not have someone. A lot of times blessings are having huge families and places to go, but it's also sometimes there's people that we don't really think about that may not have some visitors or anything during this holiday time. So please think about them if you have some leftovers, or maybe invite them over. But Beavercreek is a wonderful community, as it showed during our natural disaster this past year, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone and just how grateful we are as a community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have an agenda before us this evening. Are there any comments? I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as submitted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the approval of some minutes. We'll start with the October 28th regular meeting. Any comments?
Seeing none, motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from October 28th as submitted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next to the minutes from the November 11th regular meeting. Any comments?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the November 11th minutes as submitted. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And then we move on to the November 18th budget workshop. Any comments there?
Mr. Mayor, there's no comment. I'd move for approval of the budget work session of November 18th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for November 18th's budget work session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And I have an abstention, sir.
One abstention, thank you. Next is the November 20th, 2019 budget work session. Comments?
I would move for approval of the budget work session, November 20th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the November 20th budget work session. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. And lastly, we have the minutes from the November 20th, 2019 special meeting.
I would move for approval of the November 20th special meeting.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the special meeting of November 20th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstention.
Abstentions?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is pre-scheduled presenter. Is Ms. Candy Pristolowski present? Okay. In that case, we will move on.
All right.
Next are the ordinance resolutions and PUDs. First is ordinance 19-22. This is the third reading, and this was sponsored by Councilmember Upton. So are there any comments? Please read it, I'm sorry. Get that right.
This is an ordinance amending ordinance 17-3, PUD 17-4, Rock Drive Development, to add 2.94 acres to the existing 6.4 acre PUD.
Thank you. Now, are there any comments? Mr. Upton, Councilmember Upton?
Mr. Mayor, if there are no comments, I'd move motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 19-22. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next is ordinance 19-23.
This is a third reading of an ordinance authorizing the filing of the Articles of Incorporation of the Beavercreek Development Corporation, adopting the Articles of Incorporation of the Beavercreek Development Corporation, and approving designation of the Beavercreek Development Corporation as the designated development agency for the city of Beavercreek.
Thank you. This is also the third reading, and this was sponsored by Councilmember Curran. Any comments?
Move to approve.
Second, sir.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 19-23. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. Next is ordinance 19-24.
This is a third reading of an ordinance approving and adopting the Code of Regulations of the Beavercreek Development Corporation and approving the designation of the Beavercreek Development Corporation as the designated development agency for the city of Beavercreek.
Thank you. This again is also the third reading. This was sponsored by Councilmember Literal. Are there any comments?
Motion to approve?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 19-24. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next is ordinance 19-28.
This is a single reading of an ordinance to approve supplemental appropriations and certify additional revenue for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2019 and ending December 31st, 2019, and to amend ordinances 18-28, 19-1, 19-3, 19-12, 19-17, 19-18, 19-19, and 19-21.
Mr. Cassara.
Good evening. I've been very busy with these amendments to the ordinance this year. This is just a housekeeping year-end cleanup here. Some of our debt services, the amount we had budgeted, the amount exceeded the amount we had budgeted for various reasons. The first one was the Pentagon Boulevard assessment. With those assessments, whenever we get the money in, we forward that off to the person that holds the debt service on it. We send them the entire amount. This year we budgeted the amount that was the service payment, and we actually got more. They were from delinquent taxes the year before. We don't budget for delinquent taxes, so again, we received more, we sent it off to the trustee, and so therefore we have to appropriate the $738 extra that we received as part of those delinquent payments. The public safety building, that one, we simply just forgot to increase the county auditor's rate increase that he had passed on in 2019. So,
How much was that rate increase?
how about 115%?
115%, just one.
Like that,
Thank
so.
you.
So again, we have to increase that to adjust for the additional expenditures for his fees. And then the third one was the Energy Special Improvement District. That's our brand new energy district that we just established in 19. And that debt service also included trustee fees and ESED fees. And we didn't budget for those, and those came in, and again, we send those off to the trustee, the entire amount. So again, we have to appropriate that amount that we received that we're sending off to them. So it's really just a wash there. So be happy to answer any questions for you if you have any related to those three items.
Please, anyone? Questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 19-28. This is going to require a roll call, so we have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Literal?
Yes.
Councilmember Rushing?
Yes.
Councilmember Upton?
Yes.
Councilmember Van?
Yes.
Councilmember Curran?
Yes.
Mayor Stone?
Yes. Next is resolution 19-69.
This is a resolution to declare the necessity and intent to acquire certain parcels or real estate and other property interests owned by Primary Properties Ltd. with interest by others for the Dayton-Xenia Road Widening Project in the city of Beavercreek, Ohio.
Thank
Good
you.
evening, Mayor.
Good evening.
Why is it not going on? There it goes.
the one.
How'd you do that? I had you ready, I swear, he messed me up.
That's all right.
There we
Good.
go.
Okay. There we go. Good evening, Mayor and members of council. This resolution and accompanying ordinance that will be coming up next are for an appropriation for Murphy's Auto, which is owned by Primary Properties LTD. We've been in negotiations with them throughout the year, trying to come to a resolution to purchase the property, and we have, at this point, come to a standstill where we have not received any further communication from them. We will still be trying to get this resolved without the appropriation if possible, but this is to move the project forward so we can move this forward with and have this constructed on time. The takes for this are a temporary take that is 10 feet wide, which is in the yellow. The green area is a extension of the existing utility easement to move the gas for vectoring, to move the gas out of the project area. So that is what the takes would be for this property. Any questions for me?
Is the yellow take, is it a permanent take? Or
It is
there
a
work?
temporary take, Mr. Mayor.
Temporary,
Yes,
yes, right.
yeah. So it was basically that take will be so that way we
We're
can.
just gonna rent it for a while.
Yeah, rent it for a while. Basically, so we can reconstruct the driveway after it's been disturbed and regrade to get it back into proper grading after the project, so.
Isn't that the entranceway, though, to their business?
That is one of them, Mr. Upton. The other one they have is on Central Avenue,
On the side, it's kind of small.
roughly right in here. It's just off the map, but they do have one right there as well.
I can see why they quit talking to you.
How long will you have it closed?
The work on the property, it will be during the day. They would have, if they're on there at the driveway, it would be closing it during the day, then putting plates over it in the evening when they're not working on it. After they're done with that work, they would be filling it in with temporary pavement, temporary asphalt, or
Do you
gravel.
think that's going to take 2 weeks, or what do you think?
Yeah, for the gas, I mean, it's up to the gas company, but to get across that short of a distance, I would say roughly 2 weeks or so. And then we'll also have some work out there because the roadway is being lowered, so there'll be some temporary road driveway reconstructions on there as well.
Isn't there an alternate we can help provide them during that time? I mean, that's right in their main entrance. And the central entrance is not very big. And I can see where that's going to cause a hardship.
We, originally, we had more take with their property. We were actually coming in roughly, back in here with that first row. This take that we have now will basically be right up at the parking blocks to redo that gas, move that gas back there into grade for that. We do not anticipate loss of parking with that.
We just gotta keep all the businesses that we work along there.
Yes.
I mean, we gotta keep them accessible as best we can.
Right, and that's our goal with the temporary driveways
We
and
got
stuff
good
as
experience on the last set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long was the temporary take?
The temporary take is for a year, just so we can, when we're in that area, we can work in that area to do the construction that's needed.
That
How
doesn't
long
mean-
would the
that
actual
doesn't-
construction be, I guess is the better-
Construction is for 365 days, calendar days.
But
so.
he thought that maybe he would only have it closed for 2 weeks. That was my question.
Okay,
So-
I apologize.
Yeah.
Physically closed, that'd
Yeah,
be a
yeah,
temporary.
yeah.
easement.
They can
Yeah.
use it off and on throughout
Yeah.
the whole year.
Yep.
But when I said, would it be a couple of weeks, he decided that would be a good answer, so.
And Ms.
couple
Van,
weeks.
we would
My
try to, with as wide as that driveway is too, we would try to keep it open one half at a time as well,
That'd be
just to
helpful.
alleviate any potential issues
I
we would
think
have
that's a
with
good
that.
idea.
Yeah.
All right, anything else on the resolution? We're gonna have the ordinance following it here in a minute, but, anything on the resolution? If not, do I hear a motion?
I would move to approve Resolution 19-69.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 19-69. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now, the ordinance that goes along with this resolution is next. This is ordinance 19-29.
This is an ordinance to appropriate certain real property interest owned by Primary Properties LTD for the Dayton-Xenia Road Widening Project in the city of Beavercreek, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you.
Thank you. As stated, this ordinance is to go along with the resolution for this take. Once again, this is to keep the project moving forward, and we will try to resolve this without having to go to appropriation if possible with the owner as we move forward with this appropriation process. So,
Okay, thank you.
uh-huh.
This ordinance, this is the first, would normally be the first reading, but this is an emergency, so we will take action tonight. But because it is the first reading, we do allow for public comment. Is there anyone here tonight that would like to address council on this ordinance? Seeing none, we'll move on. Any discussion from council? Do I hear a motion?
I would move for approval of ordinance 19-29
As
and
a,
call as an emergency and call for a roll call vote.
and I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve ordinance 19-29 as an emergency. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Rushing?
Yes.
Councilmember Upton?
Yes.
Councilmember Curran?
Yes.
Councilmember Van?
Yes.
Councilmember Literal?
Yes.
Mayor Stone?
Yes. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next is liquor permits. Chief?
Good evening, Mayor,
Good
Council.
evening.
I have a transfer of a liquor permit from Thai Treasures LLC. It's doing business as House of Thai. We received notification of a request to transfer the D5 liquor permit from Thai Treasures LLC to Ma'am and Eve LLC, doing business as House of Thai, 3230 CJ Drive. The background checks required by the Ohio Department of Commerce Division of Liquor Control were conducted on the business shareholders, and for this application request, and staff is recommending this application move forward without comment.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to accept Mom and Eve LLC, doing business as the House of Thai, without comment.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the decision items, which first is the Greater Dayton Transit Authority. Hello.
Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to, because of work in our office, because of work in our office, I'm going to recuse myself on this one.
Certainly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's okay. Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. Happy to be before you this evening. Just one moment while we pull up our presentation.
It is probably open now.
Thank you, Di. Before you this evening is a transit stop application for Chestnut Street. The transit stop application is guided by the regulations in Ordinance 14-04, and Council has adopted the design criteria for public transit stops. Applications for approval are to be submitted to the Public Administrative Services Director, who makes a recommendation to the City Manager, and ultimately a decision then made by City Council. And then ultimately City Council should consider the application. The application that we're describing is in the southwest corner, located near the Green Shopping Center on Chestnut Street, identified with the small red star. As we zoom into the area, the building located here is the Cinemark Cinemas. As we start to look at the application as a whole, the transit stop application for Chestnut Street identifies the stop to the west of the cinemas, with routing coming in down Glengarry, south on Chestnut, and out west on Beach Street. The following items have been taken into consideration. Staff has reviewed the design criteria, including spacing. The applicant has indicated that they will eliminate a stop on Stroop once the new stop is installed. The stop is properly located between intersections. No impact to existing traffic signals, doesn't interfere with visibility of motorists or pedestrians. It also meets the proximity requirement from driveways and other entrances and exits. Additionally, it's been identified that a bus stop is warranted in this location, which actually requires a turnout to move traffic outside of the lane of travel to eliminate the impede of traffic flowing. The bus stop does meet our design criteria, including a bus stop pad. Lighting and trash receptacles have also been identified. This is somewhat of a busy slide, but I'll just go through it briefly. The highlighted area above is the existing site facility. The site on the bottom indicates a modification to the existing curb and turning radius at Glengarry and Chestnut. Additionally, the 60-foot taper with a 60-foot stop and a 60-foot taper coming out the other side also meets our existing design criteria. There is a slight modification also being done to the curb at Chestnut Street and Beach Street as well. The indication above is the area showing the impact to the existing site that was described just previously, and then at the bottom with the modifications and the ASHTO turning template showing that the bus maneuvers effectively through the site. Bus stop shelter design. Once the stop is approved by City Council, the applicant will coordinate with the city engineer, as we have done on the other bus stops that have been approved throughout the city, and the shelters will be significantly similar to those located on Pentagon. Additionally, the city engineer will work with them to make sure that the site amenities match our design standards. Attached or in the picture above is a photo of the existing stop up on Pentagon. The stop meeting our design criteria with the turnout template or the turnout tapers identified there so that you could see visually what that would look like in the green application as well. The transit stop application for Chestnut Street, staff recommends approval of the Chestnut Street bus stop as the applicant has met all the requirements for the stop. I should mention also that the applicants are present this evening should you have any additional questions that staff is unable to answer. Happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
All right, thank you. All right, are there any questions? We've heard you say several times that he meets all the criteria that this council has set in the zoning code, correct?
That is correct.
All right.
Go ahead.
Could I see the map again so I can see where the bus stop shelter is?
Of course.
Just, so point out that shelter.
So the shelter will be located right here.
Oh, so it sets back and the sidewalk runs between.
Correct.
Okay. That's what
Correct.
I was trying to make sure I understood how that worked.
That is correct. There's a
Okay.
requirement, there is actually some fixtures that have to move and the sidewalk needs to be amended and changed. But we'll be doing that as part of the specific site plan with the final design and meeting with the engineer.
And at the corner of Glendale and Chestnut, they'll extend those walkway painting lines and stuff so that it looks like it's all together.
Correct. The modification to any streetlights or plantings or any other decorative ornaments on that corner would have to be adjusted and amended, and that would be done at the responsibility of the applicant.
So what is that fuzzy stuff? Is that plantings?
There is a treatment at that site. Yes, I believe there are some plantings at that site as well as some
There are.
lighting fixtures.
So when the pedestrians cross there, they have to jump over those?
No, they'll still be able to walk through it. Yes, it'll be as it is now. Yep.
Mike, that egress is really tight there. drove down that's a 90-degree.
Yes.
Right now, I realize it's gonna be modified, but that, I assume will be taken care of, correct?
That is correct. So the turning templates show that the bus can traverse through there. The AASHTO turning templates show that they can make those turns, and really there's many places throughout not only this city but other places that they make 90-degree turns. So we believe with the modifications to the curb, it should meet our requirements.
So if they damage the curb on Beech Nut, are they responsible for?
On Beach Street,
Yeah, if because that is at such a tight curve, and their wheels smash,
yeah,
is there any liability?
Yeah, there's existing impact to that curb right now. If Councilmember Curran was out on the site,
Right.
you can clearly see that is getting run
Already.
over currently.
Yeah.
Prior to the buses entering this location, the curb seems to be handling it just fine, but additionally, with the additional modification to the curb, we think that should resolve that problem.
Well, the other thing is that you have lots of semis dropping off product, and that can be said about any driveway that we have, including the speedways and all the others.
Correct.
So,
It's no different than any other curb throughout the city.
that's right.
All right.
Like to
If there's no more further discussion, I'll take a motion.
motion to accept.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the Greater Dayton Transit Authority stop proposal. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Thank you. And we'll get Mr. McHugh back in here.
Counselor back, yeah.
And we'll move on to council time. So how about we start over here with Councilmember Literal?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to, again, reiterate Thanksgiving holiday, and thank you, and I hope everyone has a blessed holiday, and to all of our employees and volunteers. City, again, I'm just down to one meeting and a half, and so I just wanted to reiterate how grateful I've been to been here on this council and all the opportunities I've had to learn this year. It's a nice reflection during this time of the year.
Thank you. Councilmember Rushing.
No comments this evening, thank you.
Well, thank you. Councilmember Van.
No comments.
Okay, moving right along. Councilmember Upton.
Yeah, I got two I want to comment on tonight. I apologize. First off, I want to give a little kudos to Creek Safe. I saw today that they were having some locks installed at Ankeny Middle School. So congratulations to Creek Safe for getting that funded. I appreciate all the vendors that are helping them out get those safes into the school. And great opportunity with school being out this week to get those locks in. So when they return from break, our students will be safer at Ankeny Middle School. More work to be done there, but I know they're continuously working forward towards it. The other item I want to just comment on tonight, I wanted to make folks at home aware and those in the audience that the county commissioners are currently reviewing a proposal to increase the sales tax in Greene County by 0.25%. They've had 2 public hearings already. They've not set a vote, but the intent is potentially looking at that in the May ballot or the March ballot next year. So
I didn't think I learned about it.
no, it is because they are putting the sales tax on specifically for
that use.
for the jail, for the
Okay.
prison. It would have to go onto the ballot, but want to make folks aware of that reach out to your county commissioners if you have any thoughts on that. But I know they're sitting on quite a bit of money in their rainy day fund that I'm not sure this is needed, but that's my opinion. So we'll leave it at that. That's all for me tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Curran.
Wish everybody a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you. And my turn then. It's only a couple items. First, congratulations to Councilmember Literal. She is leaving council, but she was elected to the Chamber Board.
Thank you.
So she's going to stay involved with the community there. We recently had a Mayors and Managers event out at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and that's always a wonderful event. And somehow I saw an email the other day, it looks like I may be the president of that organization this coming year, so, you know, when you miss a meeting, sometimes you get in trouble.
Very proud of you for that, Mr. Mayor.
And then Councilmember Van and I were out at Wright State here recently for the international student. They were had an award for one of the
International.
professors there for the international studies. And so this community is always active. There's always something going on, and it's just a great. We try to get where we can get. And with that, that's all I have for Mayor's time, other than again to say, hope everybody has a fruitful Thanksgiving. City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple announcements tonight. Bicycle-friendly community. This is a first for us. The city of Beavercreek has joined 488 communities in all 50 states as the newest certified bronze bicycle-friendly community. So we joined 20 other communities in the state to be designated a bike-friendly community. So that's a good start for us on that. Proud to be moving forward on that. Upcoming meetings, just want to remind everybody, December 9th is our next, that is the council meeting of State of the City that's presented, and the 2020 proposed budget's presented for approval, and that is the last council meeting for 2019. And the next council meeting is Monday, January 13th of 2020. Hard to believe, but 2020. And just, again, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Just Thursday and Friday, the city offices will be closed. And as always, for any non-emergency calls, you can contact Beavercreek Police Department at the 426-1225. That's all I have. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Everybody's been brief tonight. All right, moving on. Next section is citizen comment. And this is a section where citizens can address council on any issue at all. We ask that if you have something to say that you come forward, give a name and address. Limit your comments to 3 minutes. If you need more time, get somebody else in the audience to donate their time to you, and you can accumulate up to 9. So is there anyone tonight here that would like to address council? And just help yourself. Please come forward. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Rich Weaver, and I live at 2886 Bonds Drive, and I'm going to donate my time to Cheryl.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Jonathan Graham. I live at 3102 McGinn Drive, and I also donate my time to Cheryl.
Very good, thank you.
Tara Salmons, 3111 Kemp Road. I donate my time to Cheryl.
Oh, 9 is the max, so
Oh,
she's
9,
already up to
okay.
9, so you can save yours, okay? Thank you. Now, is Cheryl present?
Yes, I am, of course.
Well, let's just use those minutes.
Thank you for allowing me back. I'm afraid I probably have more statement time than I have been allotted. So I'll try to do quickly 2 things. On the 11th of November, the city manager made a statement saying that 75% of the social media had, quote, addressed why wasn't things orange and black. I've reviewed that social media and found less than 5% of those comments had anything to do with orange and black. So I think that is misleading to the community. In addition, the city manager also said that people were being harassed, or implied that people were being harassed for making positive comments in favor of the logo, of which I only found 6. However, not a single person had a negative comment directed to them, so I do not feel that they were in any way impacted by people who were saying, don't say that. They didn't do that. I also would like to point out that he addressed that people were saying that I like the old logo. Well, yeah, we've been there. Which of the 10 plus this is his quote, which of the 10 plus variations do you mean? The silver gray, the gold, the teal, the yellow, the open-tail beaver, the closed beaver with the river, the middle of the Beaver Creek sitting on the beaver, and the beaver sitting on the end of Beaver Creek. Which are the many shades of maroon or red, or the hot dog shape used by the park, or the many golf club variations, etc. That's what he said. He also then gave a quick overview of the history, and we got up to 2002 when the image of the stylized beaver with creek emerged. But I'd like to go back now to the intent of the city manager and the advertising tasking, who stated that the purpose of the new logo was, quote, recognition and consistency to present, unquote, to the businesses of the city of Beavercreek. The 44-page document, which was submitted to the city council by the advertising agency, states on page 4 that their mission was to, quote, build a strong, united image for the, quote, city of Beavercreek, the city of Beavercreek. As no other person who's reviewed the 44 pages of this document noted that not a single, one single logo in all 40 pages says the city of Beavercreek. The only logo in those 44 pages is the one that belongs to the police patch, which has in its border the city of Beavercreek. All other borders, all other logos, all of them say Beavercreek. I'm sorry, that's also the name of our township. Have you subsumed a logo to apply to the township with their permission? We've always called ourselves the city of Beavercreek. I would also like to point out that in that 44 pages, it starts out with, on pages 6 and 7, 6 primary color format logos, the funny beaver and the bee, the infamous blue, green, teal known as the Tide Pod logo, a grayscale version which anyone who has an agenda can see at the upper left-hand corner of your agenda, which, by the way, I think is not too offensive just because it's not those horrible colors. A solid black one, a all solid gray one with the white outlines, a solid blue one with white outlines, and a blue shaded one, Pantone 2935 with 3 shades of blue. Now the branding company has picked 6, and they also point out you can put Beavercreek below or Beavercreek on the side. That's called horizontal or vertical, so times 2 you now have 12 logos. There's also a reverse background logo, which can be black or blue, and that's 2 more, and it can be horizontal or vertical, so you can add 4 more. And then page 9, the branding company also points out that the logo alone can be used by itself with no words in those other 5 solid colors, which adds another 5 to the 16, so 21 we're at blackjack. On page 10, the branding company made the condition of that tagline below the word Beavercreek as a labeled version, so that's another version. This supposedly was only a suggestion. Some people were, I think, uncomfortable on council about it, but however, they voted to adopt the whole thing. Did you vote to adopt a logo, or did you vote to adopt the 44-page policy? It's not really clear to me. But now we're up to 23 because we have those 2 more. Then we also have the one for the police department. That's another one. And then we find out that you're allowed to use 3 different typefaces in those first 16. So 16 times 3 different typefaces is 48 different types of color orientation. With the other 5 logos, we're adding up fast here. Then there are 8 additional colors that the departments are allowed to use, and the police department, of course, has its own singular patch, which I would like to point out is probably the ugliest police patch I've ever seen. Not listed in the original color schemes at the front of the document, pages 6 through 7, we have a solid logo green on page 55 for the Parks Department, and it comes in a reverse background, number 56 and 57, horizontal, vertical, 57, 58. And then everyone in the room has so patiently listened and they're running out of fingers, we get to go to the golf club, and they get a teal logo, a teal reverse, up or down, so we're 4 more. Then we move on to page 42, and the senior citizen gets number 63 with an all purple beaver. All purple? Okay, whatever. The solid purple and the logo and the reverse background and the up and the down, we're now up to number 66. I also did not include all the different varieties of using fonts in 2 different colors, etc. and so forth, and I counted up at least 71. All right, 10 or 12 we've got now. Now we've got 71. Council 1 Literal, thank you, questioned on 28 October before the council accepted this ugly logo, whether or not this development had been openly proposed or disclosed to the public in general, and noted the effort was unknown to citizens in Beavercreek. This is true. The city manager admitted it was true. In fact, most people consider this primarily an inside job. He prefers to call it behind the scenes. Oh, okay, thank you. I think every citizen in Beavercreek, with the exception of council and the city manager and his hand-selected committee, were totally uninformed of this decision. This logo was approved by a simple council motion. I would like to publicly state before I proceed that the Mr. Landrum said it was on the advice of the city attorney. I would like to publicly state, I'm an attorney. I am an Ohio licensed attorney, and I will tell you that the opinion of one attorney is not always the correct opinion. In this matter, I totally disagree with him. In the past, from 1997 to 2002, it is true that the logos were adopted by simple motion. However, they were one single illustration. No guidelines, no colors, no fonts, no variations, no guidance. Simple motion. Okay, I'll buy it. Well, Mr. Manager, your branding company version is pretty equivalent to at the end of the word of Beavercreek or the middle of the word Beavercreek. We're talking about horizontal locations and vertical locations. If the sign is round, you kind of need the beaver in the middle. If the sign is long, you need the beaver on the end. This is a placement option. In the past, there has never been any documentation, as he stated, of styles, colors, fonts, grayscale, black, white, reverse background, horizontal, vertical, taglines, no taglines, specific colors, or specific departments. I'm running out of air. Let me state clearly again, this is a 44-page document that you appear to have approved. If you have done so, you have adopted a policy. The city charter states that if the city wants to adopt something that has to be adopted under section 401, all legislative powers of the city shall be vested in the council. And it also goes on, let's say legislative, you voted on it, you made something that affects everyone in the city, it affects every department in the city. The city council charter states clearly that it must be by an ordinance or a resolution. Pick one. You've adopted something that has proposed under your initiative powers, that would be and it affects government of the city, that's an ordinance. If you want to say it's only a policy, that's a resolution. Either way, as an argument of a lawyer, you didn't do it right. I do not believe that the policy adopted by 44 pages long, which outlines a rule of conduct by all members and employees of the city, is a memo, motion, okay, it's good with us. Additionally, it's not really clear to me whether you really meant to adopt those 44 pages, because there were people who questioned the wording of the tagline and other issues that might be, quote, need tweaking, unquote. So, should we argue whether or not it is or not an action? I think it is. I can make the argument both ways, as I have. I'm clearly stating to my fellow citizens and to you on the council that the council has improperly passed this initiative action by failing to introduce it on the record as either an ordinance or a resolution. Under the laws of the state of Ohio, I and all the citizens in this community are allowed to petition, but we may only petition for a referendum if we have an ordinance number or a resolution number. By failing to properly characterize this action, you have denied the rights of every citizen in this community. I respectfully request that the council invalidate their vote of 28 October 2019 and proceed in accordance with the city charter of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Keegan. Is there anyone else tonight that would like to address council? Anyone?
I've got 3 minutes that I didn't use.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Paula Baker. I live at 2608 Brown Bark Drive in Beavercreek. And I recently received a phone call after the last meeting from my daughter, who lives away from this area, who was raised here, who remarked that the new Beavercreek city logo looked like a Tide detergent pod. And I said, no, wrong colors. It looks like a Cascade detergent pod. It seems to me that this could have been a better use of our monies. There should have been a better use. I'm appalled at how much money was spent on this when what we have right here is fine. And it depicts the fact that we were named because we had, I guess at one time, historically, this was a large agriculture area. And it just seems to me like it was kind of callous that this was done the way it was done, but sometimes that's how things were done. I just think that in light of what this city has been through with the tornadoes, I just thank the good Lord up above that we didn't have anybody killed in that. Thank goodness we didn't. But also, the city seemed to, but to say that there was no complaints, I can't believe that. because a few years ago, we had complaints. I had neighbors that complained to the city for several times about some things that was going on with a local developer and what he was doing, and bringing his earth-moving equipment on our street instead of coming in at the construction entrance to his own thing and causing problems. Well, I finally was able to get some satisfaction with that. But I think also this is future consideration of what is going to happen to the cost to the taxpayers when you have to go around the city and change all of these signs. What's that going to cost? I mean, the ones we have are wonderful. They depict our history, which was we're a historical city. We were agricultural. There's got a lot of good things in the past. So I'm just going to leave some things here. My daughter said that they look like Tide Pods, and I said no. I'm going to leave these here for y'all as a gift from me to remind you of this silly decision where you spent all this money on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else tonight who would like to address council?
My name is Gary Zimbo. I live at 3061 Lance Road, and I've just got a couple questions. I'd like to know whose idea was it to change the logo?
We will stay around after the meeting. This is not a back and forth section of the council members or the city manager. We'll be happy to answer that question if you want to stay around immediately
I mean,
after
it's
the
a
meeting.
simple question. I mean, somebody had to come up with the idea to change this logo, and why can't they be identified?
Well, I don't know if it was one person.
And I don't think it's what the mayor was saying, is I don't think it's an issue of answering the question. That's not what this portion of the meeting is for. The mayor said we'd be more than happy to stay around and talk to you afterwards, but this typically and traditionally in city council meetings has not been a question and answer portion. It's just a time for you to bring your concerns or issues to us as a council, and then we will address them with you after or in due course if it requires some research.
Okay, I got.
We will get you that answer for sure.
Okay, I got, see if you can answer another question. I don't know if you'll answer it. But was this idea brought up in your work sessions? The idea to change it? I mean, because work sessions, the citizens have no idea what goes on. And from what I understand, is when the voting came on the, I guess it was October 30th or whatever day it was just a yay vote from everybody, and as far as I know, and nobody in the city even knew this was going on.
Okay, we'll get you the answer to that one too.
Okay, that's all I gotta know. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Last call. Hello.
Hi. My name's Judy Paddock, and I live at 2917 Crone Road in Beavercreek. And I just want to say that I agree with what these other people have said. I was surprised about the logo, and I'm like, why did they spend all this money? And it's the taxpayers paying for this, and we can't even say yay or nay about it. They're spending our money, and then they have to spend more money for, like Paula said, putting it all over and the stationery and signs and everything else. And also, I think a lot of Beavercreek is not educated. A lot of citizens are not educated what's going on. I don't think, like for the charter, I don't think anybody knew what was really in that charter. A lot of people don't agree with what happened with that charter, and I think something should be done about that. On top of the logo, I think that should be changed. I mean, I think they should just go back to how it was. And in this green space, and people saying they want to build, but I've been here since '74, and I liked, when it was a township, we had only half-acre lots, and you couldn't have anything smaller than that. It was nice. We had a really nice place to live, and now it's just, I heard they just want to take away all the green space except for parks. But we like our green space. We like our trees. We like our community that we had. And it was really neighborly, and it wasn't all like commercial. And then everything started coming in. And then the mall came in. And we were promised that the school taxes, we wouldn't have all these school levies if that came in, but that went to Greene County instead of the city of Beavercreek. So there's a lot of things I think that the citizens and residents here at this city doesn't understand what's going on. They're not educated about it. People don't go in what everything means on this charter, what this means, And I just think that, we need to tell the people here and the residents what's really going on so that we can have some say-so before things are done. That's all.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else this evening? No one? In that case, we will close the public comment. And we are going to enter into executive session shortly. I'm going to ask for a motion here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to enter into executive session pursuant to Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code for the purpose of consideration of the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, promotion, demotion, or compensation of a public employee or official.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to enter into executive session. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Upton?
Yes.
Councilmember Van? Vice Mayor Garcia?
Yes.
Councilmember Curran?
Yes.
Councilmember Literal?
Yes.
Councilmember Rushing? Mayor Stone?
Yes. And for the people here and the people on TV, we will come back after the executive session. There will be no action. But those of you that wish to talk to us, we will be back in this room to reconvene and then end our meeting. So if you want to wait around, it shouldn't take too long. Thank you.